Chapter 2, Presenting the Case Study. This chapter contains fast-growing IT needs, master plan, why a GNU Linux distribution, why the Debian distribution, commercial and community-driven distributions, and why Debian Bullseye. In the concept of this book, you are the system administrator of a growing small business. The time has come for you to redefine the information systems master plan for the coming year in collaboration with your directors. You choose to progressively migrate to Debian, both for practical and economical reasons. Let's see in more detail what's in store for you. We have envisioned this case study to approach all modern information system services currently used in a medium-sized company. After reading this book, you will have all of the elements necessary to install Debian on your servers and fly on your own wings. You will also learn how to efficiently find information in the event of difficulties. 2.1 Fast growing IT needs. Falcott Corp is a manufacturer of high quality audio equipment. The company Falcott Corp is a manufacturer of high quality audio equipment. The company is growing strongly and has two facilities, one in Saint-Étienne and another in Montpellier. The former has around 150 employees. It holds a factory for the manufacturing of speakers, a design lab, and all administrative office. The Montpellier site is smaller, but with only about 50 workers and produces amplifiers. Fictional company created for case study. The Falcon Corp company used as an example here is completely fictional. Any resemblance to an existing company is purely coincidental. Likewise, some example data throughout this book may be fictional. The information system has difficulty keeping up with the company's growth, so they are now determined to completely refine it to meet various goals established by management. The goals are it should be modern, easily scalable infrastructure, reducing cost of software licenses thanks to use of open source software, installation of an e-commerce website, possibly B2B, business to business, i.e. linking of information systems between different companies such as supplier and its clients. Significant improvements in security to better protect trade secrets related to new products. The entire information system will be overhauled with these goals in mind. 2.2 Master Plan. With your collaboration, IT management has conducted a slightly more extensive study, identifying some constraints and defining a plan for migration to the open source system Debian. A significant constraint identified is that the accounting department uses specific software which only runs on Microsoft Windows. The laboratory, for its part, uses computer-aided design software that runs on OS X. The switch to Debian will be gradual. A small business with limited means cannot reasonably change everything overnight. For starters, the IT staff must be trained in Debian administration. The servers will then be converted, starting with the network infrastructure, routers, firewalls, etc., followed by the user services, file sharing, web, SMTP, etc. Then the office computers will be gradually migrated to Debian for each department to be trained internally during the deployment of the new system. Chapter 2, Part 3 Why a GNU Linux distribution? Back to basics. Linux or GNU Linux? Linux, as you already know, is a kernel. The expression Linux distribution or a Linux system are thus incorrect. They are in reality distributions or systems based on Linux. These expressions fail to mention the software that always completes this kernel, among which are the programs developed by the GNU project. Dr. Richard Stallman, founder of this project, insists that the expression GNU Linux be systematically used in order to better recognize the important contributions made by the GNU project and the principles of freedom upon which they are founded. Debian has chosen to follow this recommendation and thus name its distribution accordingly. Thus, the latest release, the stable release is Debian GNU Linux 11. Several factors have dictated this choice. The system administrator, who was familiar with this distribution, ensured it was listed among the candidates for the computer system overhaul. Difficult economic conditions and ferocious competition have limited the budget for this operation, despite its critical importance for the future of the company. This is why open source solutions were swiftly chosen. Several recent studies indicate they are less expensive than proprietary solutions while providing equal or better quality of service so long as qualified personnel are available to run them. In practice, total cost of ownership. The total cost of ownership, TCO, is the total of all money expended for the possession of or acquisition of an item, in this case referring to the operating system. This price includes any possible license fee, costs for training personnel to work with the new software, replacement of machines that are too slow, additional repairs, etc. Everything arising directly from the initial choice is taken into account. This TCO, which varies according to the criteria chosen in the assessment thereof, is rarely significant when taken in isolation. However, it is very interesting to compare TCOs for different options if they are calculated according to the same rules. This assessment table is thus of paramount importance, and it's easy to manipulate it in order to draw a predefined conclusion. Thus, the TCO for a single machine doesn't make sense since the cost of an administrator is also reflected in the total number of machines they manage, a number which obviously depends on the operating system and tools proposed. The TCO for a single machine doesn't make sense. The cost of an administrator is reflected in the total machines managed. Among free operating systems, the IT department looked at the FreeBSD systems, OpenBS, FreeBSD, and NetBSD, GNU Hurd, and Linux distributions. GNU Hurd, which has not yet released a stable version, was immediately rejected. The choice is simpler between BSD and Linux. The former have many merits, especially on servers. Pragmatism, however, led to choosing a Linux system, since its installed base and popularity are both very significant and have many positive consequences. One of these consequences is that it is easier to find qualified personnel to administer Linux machines than technicians experienced with BSD. Furthermore, Linux adapts to newer hardware faster than BSD, although they are often neck and neck in this race. Finally, Linux distributions are often more adapted to user-friendly graphical user interfaces, indispensable for beginners during migration of all Office machines to new systems. Alternative Debian GNU K FreeBSD. Since Debian 6 Squeeze, it's possible to use Debian with a FreeBSD kernel. Not official. These architectures may be an appropriate choice for Faculty Corp administrators, especially for a firewall. The kernel supports three different firewalls: IPF, IPFW, PF, or for NAS, Network Attached Storage System, which uh, the ZFS file system has been tested and approved. Chapter 2, Part 4: Why the Debian distribution? Once the Linux family have been selected, a more specific option must be chosen. Again, there are plenty of criteria to consider. The chosen distribution must be able to operate for several years. Since the migration from one to another will entail the additional cost, although less than if the migration were between two totally different operating systems such as Windows or OS X. Sustainability is thus essential, and it must guarantee regular updates and security patches over several years. The timing of updates is also significant since, with so many machines to manage, Faculty Corp cannot handle this complex operation too frequently. The IT department therefore insists on running the latest stable version of the distribution, benefiting from the best technical assistance and guaranteed security patches. In effect, security updates are generally only guaranteed for a limited duration on older versions of a distribution. Finally, for reasons of homogeneity and ease of administration, the same distribution must run on all the servers and Office computers. 2.4.1 Commercial and community driven distributions. There are two main categories of Linux distributions: commercial and community driven. The former, developed by companies, are sold with commercial support services. The latter are developed according to the same development models as free software of which they are comprised. A commercial distribution will have thus a tendency to release new versions more frequently in order to better market updates and associated services. Their future is directly connected to the commercial success of their company, and many have already disappeared, like Caldera Linux, Storm Linux, Mandriva Linux, etc. A community distribution doesn't follow any schedule but its own. Like the Linux kernel, new versions are released when they are stable and never before. Its survival is guaranteed as long as it has enough individual developers or third-party companies to support it. A company of various Linux distributions led to the choice of Debian for various reasons. One, it is a community-driven distribution with development ensured independently from any commercial constraints. Its objectives are thus essentially of a technical nature, which seem to favor the overall quality of the product. Two, of all community distributions, it is the most significant from many perspectives: in number of contributors, number of software packages available, and years of continuous existence. The size of its community is an incontestable witness to its continuity. Three, statistically, new versions are released every 18 to 24 months, and they are supported for 5 years, a schedule which is agreeable to administrators. 5. A survey of several French service companies specialized in free software has shown that all of them provide technical assistance for Debian. It is also for many of them their chosen distribution internally. This diversity of potential providers is a major asset for Falco Corp's independence. 6. Finally, Debian is available on a multitude of architectures, including PPC64EL for open power processors. It will thus be possible to install it on FactoryCorp's latest IBM servers. In practice, Debian long-term support. The Debian long-term support project started in 2014 and aims to provide 5 years of security support to all stable Debian releases. As LTS is of primary importance to organizations with large deployments, the project tries to pool resources from Debian using companies. FactoryCorp is not big enough to let one member of its IT staff contribute to the LTS project, so the company opted to subscribe to Freexian's Debian LTS contract and provide financial support. Thanks to this, the Falcot administrators know that the packages they use will be handled in priority, and they have a direct contact with the LTS team in case of problems. Freexian. What's that? Service companies specialize in free software and particularly Debian GNU Linux. A server cover a wide spectrum: consulting, custom development, sport training, founded by Raphael Herzog. That's one of the writers of the book, I think. Once Debian has been chosen, the matter of which version to use must be decided. Let us see why the administrators have picked Debian Bullseye. Why Debian Bullseye? Chapter 2, Part 5. Every Debian release starts its life as a continuous changing distribution, also known as testing. But at the same time you read those lines, Debian Bullseye is the latest. Every Debian release starts its life as a continuously changing distribution, also known as testing. But at the time you read those lines, Debian Bullseye is the latest. These lines. Debian Bullseye is the latest stable version of Debian. The choice of Debian Bullseye is well justified based on the fact that any administrator concerned about the quality of the servers will naturally gravitate towards the stable version of Debian, even if the previous stable release might still be supported for a while, faculty administrators aren't considering it because um, the latest version brings new interesting features that they care about. End of chapter 2.